you going? What do you got? Fire it up there.
Christmas.
All right, so here it is, our fresh 862 stroker from Indy Specialties. I know that I put up that video and I asked about what people wanted me to do, and a lot of the comments ended up saying keep it 650. Unfortunately, the way it all worked out and the timing of getting that video up, and then I got super sick and I couldn't really get the content out or edited, and then talking with Devin, and the deal just came together in the background before that video really even went live. So I appreciate the feedback in the comments. I'm working on a plan and a build for next year to do something cool in that 600 range class engine, right? That's down the road though. Right now, this 862 is going in the 650 build. This is just one hell of an engine here. We've got ARP 2000 hardware in this thing, big spacer plate here, stroker crankshaft, all billet crankshaft, really long connecting rod so that the piston ends up traveling straighter up and down and doesn't side load into the cylinder wall. Really helps with long-term durability there. Wild 5-axis CNC ported cylinder, twin ring pistons. I mean, billet head. This thing is just stout. What we're gonna end up doing is basically swapping just the long block. So all the fuel injection stuff, the reeds, the injectors, the fuel pump, everything on this side is remaining 650. On the front half, I did have to go ahead and order up a 9R pipe, 9R Y pipe, and stock upper and lower 850 valves for this. Other than those changes and some minor chassis modifications, there's a little bulkhead brace in the front that needs to be trimmed because obviously things are taller here with this spacer plate in the bottom. And then need to also, since it's taller, roll the steering post just ahead of whisker, probably millimeter, 2 millimeters, a washer or so. We'll get into that later. Not too big of a deal, but something that needs to be spoken of so you guys know what you're getting into if you decide to go this route with your own sled down the road. That said, we're keeping everything as stock as we can. We're leaving the velocity stacks in the airbox, which I guess isn't stock, but we're just swapping long block to long block to really see the difference here. Along with just swapping the long block stuff over, I'm leaving the gear ratio, the clutch springs, the weight style, all that stuff exactly the same. I'll be adding weight to the flyweight, but in terms of overall setup in that regard, we're leaving that exactly the same as well. We really want as direct of a comparison as possible between the stock 650 and this gnarly 862. That's the plan. This thing worked great, as you guys saw. Yeah, we had some spark plug issues, but I don't think that's anything related to the sled or anything that I'm doing. I think it's just a bad batch. Regardless, this thing worked incredible. I just felt like I was wringing its neck all the time, and it was only a matter of time before it did actually take out a hole or something. So I just was kind of getting nervous running this thing in Pittsburgh, and like we want to go to Canada. Yes, it would probably do it, but it's just a matter of time until wringing this thing's neck at 7,500 RPMs all day long, it finally lets go. So I don't know, it might have been fine, it might not have. One of those things, this opportunity all came together, and I'm thankful for Indy Specialties being behind me and working with me and supporting the program and supporting the channel a bit here, right? That said, just so you guys know, I did pay for this engine. It was not given to me for free. Yes, there was a discount involved because it's a test engine and I'm helping them with some R&D side of things, but I did pay for it. So again, as usual, trying to keep all my feedback and everything honest. I've got hotels booked in Canada for this weekend. I'm hoping my dropship parts from Polaris, the pipe, Y-pipe, whatever, shows up in time that I can get this thing together and take it up there with me and give it a run. That stuff is supposed to be in Wednesday or Thursday. We're trying to leave trying to leave Thursday afternoon. So it's a little bit of a scramble because it's Tuesday right now. I'm hoping I can have the majority of these long blocks swapped today or today into tomorrow morning. And that way, as soon as parts come in, slap them on, use the map tune, calibrate the exhaust valves, and then head on up north. Until then, let's get to swapping this thing in. I'm gonna start yanking the 650 apart, pulling everything out of it, and just trying to blow it apart and put it all back together as quick as I can. So, let's get into it. You can see with our stock pipe, we're somewhat close to this cross member piece here. With the taller engine, we have to clearance this thing out. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark this with the stock pipe so I have a rough idea of where I need to trim. That way when everything's out, I can trim all that. And then also with the taller engine, our spark plug to steering post gets a little bit tight in here. So we're gonna go ahead at some point, loosen the steering post up, put a little shim behind this to roll the post forward a little bit and give us just a little bit more clearance on that spark plug down there. Other than that, direct bolt-in swap. to break for lunch here, and I've got this thing pretty close to coming out. All that's left really is the motor mounts, the coolant lines, and the exhaust valves, and then dealing with the oil pump down into there. I'm pretty sure I can just pick the motor up, move it over, pop the pump out, and then pull it all the rest of the way out. Once I get all this stuff stripped off of it, hopefully I can get this out and the other 862 sitting in here by the end of the day. All right, I got some easy off oven cleaner here. I'm gonna go ahead and soak the valve housing with this. Got the springs out of the valve housing over there. I'm gonna soak those as well, get that all cleaned up. I had never cleaned the valves on this. They're pretty nasty. The previous owners allegedly ran VES Gold in it the whole time they had it for 2,000-ish miles, so story checks out there. I know I've got a lot more pulled apart than I need to, right? I know you can weasel everything out with leaving the console and a lot of stuff in here, but for me and the way that my brain works, it's a lot easier if I just blow it all apart and I have tons of clearance on everything. That way I'm not like fighting and jamming into stuff and trying to move this to move that to get that thing out. It's just easier. I have the time. I'm just going to blow it all apart and continue on with just getting everything out of the way so it's as easy as possible for me to go ahead and yank this thing out, swap stuff over on the bench, and then put the new unit back in here. I'm going to soak these valves and then get to making a mess, pulling the coolant hoses and getting some coolant flowing out of this thing. So. $650 is officially out. Again, pulled out a lot more than I probably needed to, but it made it very simple to just yoink this thing right out of here. Also, it is good that we're doing this. That PTO cylinder, come on now. She's starting to do a little scuff in there. It was still running really strong, but like I said, I've been wringing this thing's neck for, I don't know, 1,000 miles this season, and yeah, she was a little short on life, I'm guessing. And then we were just talking, this cylinder looks a little bit cleaner oxidization-wise than the block. So kind of guessing this thing might have already had a top end in it at one point, but either way, it's good that we're doing this and swapping it out because that PTO piston was on its way out. Swapped right now, but yeah, time to start swapping parts from one to the other, get these things ready to trade places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and weigh this long block, this bare long block right here, scribble that down, and then once this is stripped and all the stuff is on here, we'll weigh this bare long block and see what our difference is. Very accurate $8 Walmart scale. We are 64 pounds. do make a puller for this. This is just a regular old like Blue Point steering wheel puller. So 4 pounds different. 862 weighs in at 64 pounds, and the old 650 bare long block weighs in at 60. 4 pounds. So while I've got everything apart here, I'm gonna go ahead and space the steering post out just a little bit, get just a little more clearance on the spark plug to steering shaft area there. Ideally, I would just have another one of these little aluminum plates that goes on the front side. I might just make one. All right, so that's exactly what I did. I just made up a second plate instead of putting a washer or something behind it. It's pretty much the same thickness. Should be good enough. All right, I got my cross member marked out roughly where I think I need to cut it. I got this towel in here to try and catch a bunch of the metal shavings. I'm gonna go ahead and get the vacuum going in here too. Hog that thing out, hit it with the band file, and that'll be that. Got it? Yep. Let me go down with it here. Move my hand over the post and shit. Okay. It's most of the way in. Yep, pump is in. Yep. There you go. Nice and easy down. It's down. Yep. Yep. Now we're in. Okay. Huh, that's cool. That's it. Doggy. 862 is in, the majority of the wiring is done, the motor mounts are done, I have the clutches left, the cross brace on the other side, the oil tank, all the exhaust stuff, which I'm waiting on from FedEx. I'm super confused as to what's going on there. I've got 3 tracking numbers for 8 different items, all coming from different locations. One says 7 of the 8 items are in the same box and it weighs 1.5 pounds. So that doesn't make any sense. I have no idea if things are gonna show up in time to go to Canada with this weekend. If not, hopefully the snow holds out another week or so I can go right back up to the same spot.
It's kind of a mess. I ordered everything as soon as I could, and things, you know, took 3 or 4 days to process before they shipped, and then they're getting drop shipped from all over the place, and it's just the way it goes this year, you know, low snow, parts, shipping delays. I fought all year long with different companies and shipping delays, and it's just been a nightmare. I'm sure everyone else out there has, you know, experienced similar stuff, but anyway, the majority of this is done. It's almost 8 o'clock at night. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Got quite a bit done today. I should have this, you know, buttoned up by mid-morning tomorrow, and then hopefully the exhaust stuff comes in, throw it on, and off we go, because I can't even start the thing until that stuff shows up. So that's where we're at right now. You can see the majority of everything is in and done. Cross member is clearance, steering post is moved ahead, plug wires are back on, intake box is in. I mean, we're 80% of the way there. So hopefully stuff shows up and we can get this thing on the snow this weekend. If not, I'll be making a trip wherever there's still snow to get this thing in action. So that's gonna wrap it up for day one. I'll probably split this up into 2 parts, so stay tuned for day 2 or finish assembly, day 2 riding. I don't know. We'll see how she goes.